Barboza, Arlovsky, Travis Brown, and McGregor Mendes. Some of your thoughts on those big fights of the year?
For me, they're all great fights. I would also throw in Joanna Jędrzejczyk and the girl she fought last time. I can't Letourneau, right? That was a great fight. If we were going to do a women's fight of the year, I'd throw that in there. Yeah. But yeah, man, for me, like I was saying earlier, the fights they weren't long enough. This Barboza Ferguson, I'd probably put that on top of all the other ones. Brown and Arlovsky, it was back and forth. But not to the extent that this Igor Severin and Vitaly Bigdash. I'm gonna reiterate Audie's point. If you have not seen that fight, go see it. Look it up on the internet. Severin hurts Bigdash several times. This dude's flailing all over the place. By the end of the round, he almost comes back and gets him in a rear naked choke. If there was 5 more seconds, I think he'd have finished him in the first. And then gets his comeback win in the second. But yeah, man, those are all great fights. Barboza, he was perceived as so great. He looked so fantastic. Ferguson is a really underrated guy and came in there and brought it to him. We did see some of those flashes of Barboza kicks that he's so entertaining and so famous for. But Ferguson got it done, man. Got it done the way that he wanted to do it. So all great fights.
So some of the other ones we're looking at, like we mentioned, I think Verdum taking the title from Kane was pretty shocking because Kane, before C-level Kane became a thing, he was in charge of that first round. And then Verdum just took over. Obviously, some other honourable mentions would be McGregor and Mendes. Again, you could argue McGregor was getting dominated until he sort of escaped the submission, took him down. And then I guess another honourable mention would be Ken Shamrock and Kimbo Slice. No, I'm only kidding. Let's not.
It had the viewers.
I think the Fabricio Verdum versus the C-level Cain Velasquez is a good mention. It was pretty shocking. I think every fan was predicting Velasquez would once again dominate his fight, but it was pretty crazy to see that. It definitely is an honorable mention and a good pick for fight of the year and a title fight of the year. But I think the one-sided Ronda Rousey versus Holly Holm should also be a really good pick. If like Kevin said, if I had to choose woman fight of the year, it would be that one, just because it left the whole world shocked, and like the whole media outlets covered it, and it was just amazing to see.
Yep, Donald Trump to Lady Gaga. Everyone was talking about that.
Right.
Kit Kat round the world, if you like. Well, guys, if you don't mind, finally, we have Fighter of the Year. And this one, I'll go round the panel one at a time. And I'll start with you, Gilberto, on this one. Your choice, sir, for Fighter of the Year. Your choice and why?
I have 2 picks, male and female. They both went 3-0 this year, and they both got titles. Conor McGregor, he got the whole country behind him, and he's got the UFC behind him because the promotion that he's been getting is just crazy, and he's really changing the whole model, the whole business of mixed martial arts. Holly Holmes, she like I said, she got all the news outlets to cover the fight, and she's been a guest on about every morning show, and no one saw it coming. Both fighters no one saw the coming of the finishes that both these fighters did in their title fights. Fighter of the Year, Conor McGregor and Holly Holmes.
Good choices. Adri, it's your turn, sir. Your choice for Fighter of the Year and why?
Okay, so I'm going to say 4 names here. I'm going to say 2 from my region here and 2 from the UFC. And first one is going to be, even though I don't really like saying this, but Conor McGregor is the Fighter of the Year for me. Fought 3 times this year, 3 performance of the nights, dethroned the king, got an interim title, got the title, and just kicking everybody's ass this year. I hope he got his ass kicked next year, but but he's the Fighter of the Year, a male Fighter of the Year for the UFC. Yeah. For the female, I agree with Gilberto with Holly Holm. Holly Holm made the women's bantamweight MMA division. For the first time in years, we don't have to see judo throw and armbar. So we can see some good strikings from the girls.
Point, yeah.
I'm not hating the armbars and the judo throws, but I want to see an exciting division. And I'm gonna go here with in Asia, which is, I don't know, maybe Kevin knows about the two names I'm gonna drop. So the first one, like I said before, you guys gotta check out Marat Gafurov, the featherweight champion of one championship. Crazy talented guy. You guys gotta see his matches. He comes back from a beating by the former champion and got the win via fourth round rear naked choke. And for the female fighter of the year from here in Asia, you guys gotta check out Angela Lee from One Championship. She is dubbed to be the first ever women's MMA champion here in Asia from One Championship. And this girl is 19 years old and a brown belt in BJJ, and she pulled off a crazy twister submission in her last fight. So you guys gotta check her out. Angela Lee, Marat Gafurov in UFC, Holly Holm, and Conor McGregor. That's my fighter of the year.
Fantastic choices, sir. Kevin, finally, you can close us out. Your choice for fighter of the year and why?
I'll reiterate Audie's guy, and I'm gonna reserve him saying the name over there because I'm not great at saying the Asian names just yet. I'm working on it. But the champ over there, the guy that he beat, was perceived to be one of the best featherweights in the world over there, and or is it as flyweights, I believe. But anyways, that guy's definitely somebody to watch out for. Another guy like Daniel Strauss beat Patricio Freire over here and Bellator for the title at featherweight and or lightweight, and he lost to him in January. If he wouldn't have had that loss to him in January, because I don't feel like we can put a guy as fighter of the year if they have a loss. Yeah. But it might be an exception to that I'll bring up here in a second. But Daniel Strauss had a hell of a year and looked great in that fight against Pitbull. Pitbull looked bad and had to come from behind, win the fight before that against Daniel Weichel, so maybe he was kind of set up for the fall. But he was a good guy, but he led the loss in January, so we got to take him out. Holly Holm, of course. I like separating the males and the females. I'm not going to include her in that discussion, but there's no discussion about her being fighter of the year, and I also don't think there's any discussion about Conor McGregor being the fighter of the year. And as Alberto brought up, Gilberto said, it's the outside the stuff. Or maybe it was you, John, but that it's the outside of the ring acumen that we shouldn't factor into the fighter year. I think it should happen what's in the cage, but it's undeniable that he is changing the way that these fighters are going to promote themselves in the future. Self-made guys, and hit the nail on the head. I mean, he acts more like a promoter than a fighter outside of the ring.
McGregor Promotions.
That's the problem that these other guys got. That's why their pay grade's down and his is up. So the 3 wins. Dennis Seaver, not an elite fighter, but right there. I mean, he's been a gatekeeper for a long time. If you can beat Dennis Seaver, you're in the picture for being in that top 10. Gets a win over here, makes it look easy. Made it look real easy fighting Seaver. I thought it was going to be a much tougher fight for McGregor. That opened my eyes to him. Chad Mendez, I thought had a shot too. I thought all these guys. I'm with Audie. I really dislike the guy, but let it never be said that Kevin Jones from the main event on 97.3 down in Lubbock didn't tell it like it was. Conor McGregor, fighter of the year, not up for discussion. Comes back from the brutal first round of getting wrestled around and banged up, busted up against Mendez. Comes back and drills him. Mendez gassed a little bit, but he gassed because he was in there with Conor McGregor, and it took that much effort to do that to him. Yeah. And then, of course, the Aldo fight, short work, 13 seconds, straight left hand, not even a devastating shot, just at the right spot at the right time, catch him coming in. Aldo goes flying with his feet out from him. It looked like a fish, like one of these, we do a lot of bass fishing down here. It looked like a bass that jumped out of the water, just legs flailed out, flies to the ground, couple follow-up shots. Even John McCarthy threw a little knee shin shot on him when he was jumping in there to save him. And I felt bad for Aldo after the fight, man. I felt real bad for him. Yeah. He was very distraught, which there's so many emotions. There's so much emotions in this sport when they get inside the cage. It's hard for us that are outside looking in to understand the emotions that go into it. And like Babe Ruth called his shot, Conor McGregor told us what he was going to do and went out there and did it. fighter of the year, no doubt about it. 3-0 this year, new champ.
A massive thank you to our panel here today. We've covered the phenomenon, which was UFC 194, McGregor versus Aldo, and also UFC on Fox, Cerrone versus Dos Anjos, and got some interesting picks for Fighter and for Fight of the Year in 2015. Well, thanks again to Adri Kumara of Escobar BJJ, Kevin Jones of Double T 97.3, and Gilberto Sanchez of MMA Latest. For myself, John McElroy, we say thanks again for listening and tuning in to the Martial Arts Chat podcast. Thanks very much again for your time, gentlemen.
Thanks, John.